This video is talking about the split line notes that we use in surveying. So when you first get a split line notes document, it's a TIFF file, and it always has a lot of different pages. And so you have to use some sort of software that is going to allow you to flip through the pages. Some software will only open the front page, and this is all you're going to see. So if you don't see something that allows you to move through pages, you have to change the software. So right now I'm just using Windows Photo Viewer. It works really well for the purposes of this. So as I go through the front page of the split line notes, you're going to notice this is field notes. This is actually what happens to your field notes in the legal sense. It becomes a historical documentation. This is why we spend so much time focusing on your field notes, because you're going to have people going back 140 years, and they are going to be like, what was this guy doing? Right? So this is why field notes are so incredibly important, and this is why we spend so much time focusing on how you do your field notes when you're out in the field. So here we have the Northwest Territories, which is actually really down in the prairies, because if you know our geography or historical geography here, Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba was actually part of the Northwest Territories for a very long time. So looking at this, we've got our townships, our ranges, and what meridian we are west of. So we have 2 different townships and about 5 different ranges in this entire book. And so that tells you that this is surveying our DLS system. And what is really neat is that it started April 10th. It ended May 30th of 1883. So this is a nice old set of field notes. So you flip on to some of these pages. So I'm going to go to a busy page here. So let's try this one here. So in these pages, they're going to appear like this. At the very top, we have the township, the range, what meridian it's west of, and then it says east boundary of section 25, course south. So what does that mean? It means that it is the east boundary in the DLS system. So if you think of your square, think about what direction is east. It says section 25. So on one side, you're going to have section 25. On the other side, you're going to have, for example, section 30. And then we have our course, which is south. And that means that what is the direction that they are doing this survey in. And then it tells you what day they actually did it. So just double checking that. And they put the check mark on the page to say that they've checked it. Hey, look at that. You probably end up doing that in your own field notes. So what direction is the course? The course starts actually at the bottom and goes up. So it is upside down from a usual map that we are used to looking at. If so this is the north side, and this is the south side. So they always started at the bottom of the page and moved up. You'll also notice that there's a space in between, and all the way through the space, this is imaginary. It doesn't exist. So this particular spacing is the actual boundary. It is in the real world, it is one single line, so it's infinitely thin, and it runs all the way along that east boundary of section 25. Starts at 0 and it goes up to 80, so these are all in chains. So we go 0 to 80 chains, and all the measurements are at that location. So what they're trying to do is, it's almost like a topographic map. And so we can see here that they put in the topography, so it looks kind of bushy. It says it's poplar. It says poplar and spruce bush, so they were kind of bushwhacking through here. And then, for example, here, they did a angle and distance, so we see N40E. What does N40E mean? Well, that means it is north 40 degrees east. So they found the poplar, and they measured to that point, right? Because actually, sorry, that's the opposite, because we're upside down. So they started here, they got to the 40 chains, and they measured to that poplar. Then they give information of the poplar. And this is also in links, so we can see 12.5 links to that poplar. So we get the diameter. So they're just kind of giving a general idea of what is there. So again, flip it around. So yes, it does go, about 40 degrees northeast, because remember, this is north, this is east, because here's section 25. They mark that out. So here's the east boundary of section 25, and then west is going the other way. They also have the soils. They have the class, which is like the agricultural class, so saying whether or not the soil is good. And they tell you how deep down the different kinds of soils are and how deep they dug. So if we go here onto this next page, we see a little bit more happening on this page. It's not just as simple as like 0 to 80 chains with a bunch of little bushes drawn around. So here this one says it is in the same township, it is the east boundary of section 24, course south. So we're doing the east boundary. Here's the north side, here's the south side. They went that way. And it took them 2 days to do this, the 10th and the 11th. And starting at 0, they move up, and at 11 chains, they hit muskeg, like a muskeg pond. And they draw that in. And then at the end of that one, they measured through it, and it became at 21 chains is when it stopped. And then they go up to 30, which shows the bottom of this slope. Here's your hatching, right? So we have hatchers. And so the bottom of the slope, and then at the top of the slope was 39 chains. And then at 40 chains, they hit that midpoint, which is the quarter section. They measure out another poplar, and this time it is south 50 east and 17 perhaps half lengths as well. And they measured the diameter of the poplar, which is 4 inches. And they go up, and here's another poplar at 10 inches. Like, wow, that's a big one. and that diameter is referring to the actual trunk. It's not referring to the crown of it. And they measure that one north 65 east, 34 lengths. So here, as you go through, you'll see all these notes. This is what happens with your notes, you guys. So this is why it's so important, because in 140 years, you're going to be having somebody go through, and they're going to be like, what were they drawing? What were they doing? And what kind of measurement was that? And your name is attached to that. So it's kind of a cool thing. It's kind of makes you proud that you have that you've accomplished that. And that you're part of history now. You're part of like the legal history of Alberta, which is really cool too. But you always want to make sure you're taking care of your material. So including your split line. Well, you don't have to do split line notes anymore. This was really an old style. But if you're working in maybe surveyed territory, rural areas, you may actually need these. You might have to use these to figure out, okay, where am I exactly? Where is this boundary? Where did they place their pits and mounds? Because they're going to be looking for that. So that is split line notes, and we will get into township plans in the next one.